Hello, I'm Nobby Clark. Welcome to my workshop. This video is a bit of an update to what I've been doing in the workshop since my last video, where I'd completed the Y-axis on the DRO installation. I didn't record any of what I've been doing during the week, but that was actually fitting the X scale to the machine. I really wanted to put the hours in and get the X scale installed and bring the installation to a conclusion, basically. So I really wanted to get the whole job finished because I'm sort of really itching to use the mill and the DRO system again. I've got a number of projects I want to get on with, basically. The X installation was fortunately quite straightforward. Only problem really, you've got sort of a limited amount of access behind the bed of the machine here, but there wasn't a lot of very complicated work to do on it. I had to, like all the other scales, make mounts for either end of the scale to mount them on these end castings of the milling machine here. The cover went on very easily. I just had to cut the lip of the cover off so that it would run just below the height of the bed here, so that it wouldn't interfere with the mill vise or anything else that I use on the bed of the mill. So now everything is completed. It's all linked up to the monitor. I hope you can see that, because I've left the cover on. It does reflect rather, but if you can see that, you can see that all the scale readouts are functioning on all three axes. What I've got to do is reorganize the cable management, basically, and I've got sort of a limited space here. The arm's got to be held quite a way back because it obviously hits onto the wheel here, but I'll get that sorted out. At the moment I've got all the cables just hanging on the arm here, and I want to find somewhere better to locate these away from the machine so that they don't all get tangled up. Maybe I'd allocate somewhere on one of the shelves at the back here to mount them up. Only real downside to putting the X scale on was I had to remove the mill vise. It's always annoying to do that because I always find it a bit of a chore to sort of retram the mill vise back in again, but I'm just going to have to do that. I put the original cover here to stop chips getting down into the lead screw under the machine here, and although you can't see it, I put a new cover at the back here, making it slightly wider so at this side it covers up the Y-axis scale to stop any chips getting anywhere near that. But I'm pleased it's all turned out quite successful, really. I was very sort of worried about even starting the job, really. The other two scales were more difficult to do and took a lot of figuring out, basically, but got there in the end. So I'm very pleased with myself that I managed to do it all. I swear that if I ever buy another milling machine, I'll try and buy one with the scales already fitted, but not really much of a chance that I'll ever have another milling machine, but there you go. One other thing, I guess almost everyone watches Tubal Kane, Mr. Pete, on his channel. He produces the most fantastic videos and a lot of sort of how-to and how to make videos. And in a fairly recent one, he was showing the making of a depth stop for his Bridgeport milling machine. Quite interesting because in one of his very early videos he showed a commercially made uh, depth stop clamp, and how to modify it to fit the milling machine where the mount is actually much smaller. I'm going to swing the camera around to another position so you can see my bench drill again, and I'll explain a bit more about this. Bear with me just a moment. I have shown this before in a very early video I did. I showed some modifications and upgrades I'd made to my fairly inexpensive bench drill, and one of the upgrades I made was to the depth stop here. Normally this comes with two nuts which can be run up and down this fine thread here. This is a 10mm by 1 thread, and it does take ages to revolve the nuts and bring them up and down to the right position to give you the depth stop. And as I'd seen this video that Mr. Pete had put out on making a clamp, I thought, well, this is a great idea. I mean, I couldn't buy the clamp that he used. I mean, I think they are actually available in England, but the problem is that the threaded hole in them is much larger than this thread here. So I thought, well, I could have a go at making one. And this is precisely what he did in his most recent video. He made one of these, which is a spring-loaded clamp to go round the depth stop here, so you can set it for different adjustment. So you can bring this down to the depth you want, and then set that in any position on here, and that will arrest the movement of the quill. Obviously, the one he made was probably a lot better than the one I made. This was made out of originally one piece of material, which I machined up to shape and then cut through the centre here. Like his, I made a little hinge in the back here. One side is fixed, the other side has the hinge part on it, and you need to make a little radius in here so that this will move round. On the one he made, obviously you machine inside here to take the spring. He had a hole cut in one end, one side, and I'll tell you what that actually does. And on his one, he had two pins going through in this position here, each holding one end of the spring. He before assembly attached his spring at one end, and then where the little hole in the end was here, he put a bit of cord through the spring and pulled the spring across so he could insert a pin on the other side, and that held the spring in position. The commercially made one, I think I didn't know how it was made, but when I made mine, my guess was an easy way of doing it is these little grips here, which I made out of brass. At the ends of them, they have a pin which inserts through each end of the spring. I pushed one through and attached it to the spring at one end, screwed this in, and then on the other side, I used a little tool to push the spring across, hold it in position while I inserted the pin on the other side. So literally there was only one hole really required in here, just to hold this sort of hinge position. I didn't have to make any holes here or holes on either side to pull the spring across. once all that's made, it's just a matter of clamping these two sides together, drilling the tapping size through here, and tapping the 10x1 thread. Luckily, I already had a 10x1 tap. I bought it for some other purpose. I can't really remember what it was now, but luckily had the right tap size to work on this the depth stop here. So there we are. When Mr. Pete put up his video, he said, if any of you out there make one of these, send me a picture and let me know. Well, I don't know if that was meant to be a challenge or not. I don't really know, but there we are. I did actually make one. I did contact Mr. Pete through his comments to tell him that I'd made one of these. I think I made this when I'm guessing probably about 5 or 6 years ago, something like that. I made it not long after I bought the bench drill, which was one of the first major things I bought when I set up my workshop. And the bench drill is a thing that I use all the time. I've carried out quite a number of modifications to it to get it to work the way I want it to work. And it's, considering what I paid for it, it's been a really valuable tool to have. Well, there we are. That concludes my video for today. I hope to have another video for you in about another week's time, if I can. I've got something already sorted out for the video there. If everything comes together at the right moment, then I hope it'd be quite an interesting one for you. But anyway, thank you very, very much for joining me today. Thank you also to all the subscribers to my channel and all the brilliant comments I've been receiving recently. I'm very much obliged to everyone that posts a comment to me, giving me encouragement and advice on what I'm doing. But anyway, thanks again, and bye-bye for now.